Warning: to avoid slanderous statements being made or unconstitutional censorship of this channel, I have to state that what you're about to hear is an opinion based on my own research or experiences, and although you may not agree with it, my opinion and the right to express it are both protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Some of what you are about to hear may be unsettling, inflammatory, disturbing, or outright shocking. I'm a firm believer of independent thought, now referred to as dissent, and am considered politically incorrect. Because I may also speak without a filter, listener discretion is strongly advised. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, please hit that like and subscribe button below to receive notifications of new posted content and help support the growth of this channel. This is Samuel Storm Callahan, and welcome. You are now in the eye of the storm. Now, if you've heard anything from this channel, you already know that I try to cut Joe Biden a lot of slack because the guy is obviously in cognitive decline. But the recent comments I have to address. In 2016, a woman who I have referred to as the female Antichrist, and you've also heard me refer to as Hitlery, called Trump supporters deplorables. We were a basket of deplorables. And now in 2024, Joe Biden refers to Trump supporters as garbage. We're garbage because we don't support the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, National Socialist, globalist, anti-American, scare them and then buy them with handouts until they give up their guns so we can do what we want to them agenda. Now let's talk about the deplorable comment for a minute. A deplorable person, by definition, is someone who deserves censure, someone wretched, someone of quote-unquote very poor quality, dirty, nasty, disgusting, the very words that, in my opinion, could be used to describe Hillary Clinton. But let's talk about Joe's comment about Trump supporters being garbage. I don't think I have to explain what exactly is meant by garbage. It's kind of obvious what is meant by garbage. Now, what annoys me about that is even though I don't like Joe Biden, I can't stand the guy, I've actually tried to defend him because he's in cognitive decline. But that was just a little over the top even for Joe. Well, let's talk about garbage for a minute, Joe. You're terrorizing old people, telling them that if the Republicans take over again, they're going to lose their Social Security or get them cut. Let's take a look at your voting record for a minute, Creepy Joe. You have a record, a voting record, a publicly known voting record. Well, I say publicly known, but most people don't bother to look this stuff up, so they believe whatever kind of lies you guys tell. But you have a record going all the way back to 1975 of attacking Social Security and trying to impose the exact same reductions as the ones that you are accusing the Republican Party of trying to initiate. In fact, if you've listened to some other recordings, you'll note that I mentioned that we didn't have a tax on Social Security until 1983. You, Joe, you voted to tax up to 50% of Social Security benefits. Don't believe me? Go look at PolitiFact or factcheck.org. It's on there. 10 years later, there was another vote in the Senate where the Senate voted 50-50 to raise the maximum taxable amount from 50% to 85%. Guess who cast the deciding vote? Another Democrat, Al Gore. Because technically it's the vice president's job to break a tie. Now, a lot of people claim that that was all on Joe Biden, that he cast the deciding vote, but the Senate was literally deadlocked 50-50. So Vice President, then Al Gore, voted to increase the taxes on the elderly. But then there was also another Democrat that held out on the vote, Nebraska Democrat Bob Kerrey, who then voted in favor of increasing the taxes on the elderly, and that guaranteed its passage. You can find all this on factcheck.org. And I want to point out that PolitiFact is actually more liberal than conservative. In 2020, it was Joe Biden that lied to the American people, saying, I've been fighting to protect and expand Social Security for my whole career. That's a load of crap. Joe Biden has a 40-year history of supporting Social Security cuts, raising the retirement age, reducing cost of living adjustments, and worst of all, Joe wanted to convert Social Security from an earned benefit to welfare. In other words, a true entitlement that he can give to all his illegal supporters. And by illegal supporters, I'm talking about people that aren't here legally, who of course love Joe Biden because they come here and he gives them free housing and free meals, and free education and free health care. Everything on the blue-collar worker's dime. You know, it's easy to be charitable when you're using someone else's money, isn't it, Joe? To me, that is low-class garbage. You're stealing from hardworking Americans and giving it to those who aren't entitled to it. You're taxing the poor and the middle class for political gain with another group. You and Hillary and Kamala have a long history of pissing on the legs of Americans and trying to convince them that it's raining. And a lot of them are willing to believe it because you come at them and say, oh, I'm going to give you $25,000 for this. I'm going to forgive your college debt if you decided you didn't want to pay it or you decided to get a degree in a field that wasn't in demand or wasn't paying anything. It must be nice to get compensated for making bad decisions. Oh, that's right. That's what you people in Washington do. Joe, you make me sick. So does Kamala. I can't even look at her face without feeling like I need to vomit. The woman is disgusting to me. And it's not necessarily her appearance. It's her. You want to talk about garbage? You want to call me garbage because I support the Constitution of the United States and you people like to make crap up as you go along? I wish people would actually read the Constitution for once so that they would know you two are lying through your damn teeth about what's in and what's not. Oh, let me guess, you guys are in favor of changing it. Well, you're going to have a hard time to do that as long as America has the Second Amendment. That's right. That's why you want to get rid of it. That's why you want to take all the guns so that the people can't fight back. You can do whatever you want. Who does something like that, Joe? Garbage? I have a better word for you because I'm not going to call you garbage. I'm going to call you a traitor. And the funny thing is I've seen decals on trucks to that effect. Welcome to Trader Joe's, where everything is for sale. And we're open 24 hours, just like the border. And while we're talking about jerk-offs, I'm going to say this about Pope Francis over there. Guy, you've got some gall, saying that it's inhuman for us not to allow all these illegals to pour into our country at the taxpayer's dime. You know, it's easy for you to sit over there. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's easy to be charitable when it's someone else's money. Tell you what, Francis, how about this? How about we put them on a plane and we send them all over to you and you can take them into the Vatican and you can take care of them? Are you willing to do that? Let me tell you something. You do not ask or demand or criticize other people for not wanting to do something that you are not willing to do yourself. So shut your mouth. If you're not willing to pay the bill for all of them, just shut your mouth. The thing of it is, you might actually be willing, but the problem is you're too busy paying lawsuits because your priests keep molesting little kids. And what was it your priests and nuns did to all those children in Canada? How many bodies have they dug up now? Outside of all those Catholic schools up there where children just disappeared? Remind me again how many girls testified that their newborn babies were taken right out of their arms and thrown into the furnace? And you want to talk about God's love? And Michelle Obama, you know, I still haven't forgotten the racist remarks you made against white people when your husband was running for office. You never apologized for that, not to my knowledge. As far as I'm concerned, you actually meant that stuff. Kamala Harris, thanks to you and your loyal Democrat horde over there that's running the show, you have reduced this country to the same level as Nazi Germany and North Korea and Iran, where they try to silence their political opposition, where they try to jail their political opposition, where they try to bankrupt their political opposition, where they try to take their political opposition off the ballot. And when that doesn't work, they try to kill their political opposition. And in this case, twice. And then you call the supporters garbage. You're not American at all. You don't support the Constitution. You don't support the American people. Not the way you're supposed to anyway. You promise them free handouts in exchange for their vote. Didn't you guys just attack Elon Musk for something like that? Or at least that was your claim. He was asking people to support the First and Second Amendment. If you're registered voters and you sign this petition to support the First and Second Amendment, Elon will send you a check for $100. And you guys actually have the gall to say that he's buying votes for Donald Trump. Thank you for that, by the way, because you're just confirming that Donald J. Trump is the only one who will support the First and Second Amendment. We know you guys don't care about it, but thank you for finally admitting it, even though it was in an indirect manner. I'm hoping that the Democrats who are following you right now will at some point wake up and smell what you're shoveling, because it stinks. You don't deserve to hold office. Neither one of you. You make me sick. You belong in late 1930s Germany. Maybe president and vice president shouldn't even be your title. Maybe you should be called Obergruppenführer Biden and Obergruppenführer Harris. Because you two are systematically doing exactly what they did under the National Socialist Party, also known as the Nazi Party, back in late 1930s Germany, when they were trying to destroy the Constitution that Germany had, and they succeeded, and they took everyone's guns, and then they did whatever the hell they wanted to do. You call Donald Trump a Nazi and get him shot at twice, and then you call his supporters garbage. Let me tell you something. If Donald Trump and his supporters are garbage, they're still way above your level. To get to your level, I have to move the garbage can over to the side and dig down about 20 feet until I hit the sewer line and then break that open. Politicians like you are the reason why Washington is referred to as a swamp. The crap that was pulled in New York City with weaponizing the prosecutors there, I hate that you stay in New York that way. because there are good people in New York, but you've definitely stained that city with the crap you pulled. You have reconfirmed the bad reputation that Washington, D.C. has of dirty deals. I'm sure Hitler is proud of you right now. Look, the biggest question to me in any election is who is going to do less damage to the Constitution. That's how it's been in previous elections. Folks, in every election I ever voted in, I had to vote against who I thought was worse. In 2016 and 2020, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Why? Because I will always support the candidate that is not trying to destroy the Constitution of the United States. To me, when it comes down to it, you can make all the promises you want. You can talk all the rhetoric you want. You can try to offer bribes to people if they will vote for you. Oh, vote for me and I'll make sure you get this. Vote for me and I'll make sure you get that. Even if it's stuff that you can't get, because technically a bribe isn't a bribe until money changes hands. So usually you promise something you can't actually deliver on, hoping that people are gullible enough to fall for it and vote for you because they have that hope that they're actually going to get something out of it. One thing I do have to say about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton is they do give people hope, but there's two different types of hope. One is they give them false hope because they make a lot of promises. When are you people going to wake up and see that they're offering you a bribe to vote for them? But technically it's not a bribe if they can't follow through on it. So they're giving you false hope. But the real hope comes in when people of the world look at the United States. People look at America and say, look, over in America, they can take the most incompetent jackass they can find and put them up in front of the people to run for political office. And if they tell enough lies and make enough false promises, people will vote for them and they can run the country. Even if they have the IQ of a ripe summer squash, they can run the country. So if they can do it, there's hope for everyone else. Tell you what, folks, please stop drinking the liberal Kool-Aid that's being stirred and offered to you right now as, oh, go ahead, just drink what we're giving you and everything will be all right. We'll take care of you. Well, guess what? Kamala peed in that Kool-Aid, and you don't even want to know what Joe used to stir it with. And they go back there, and they laugh about it. Kamala Harris, she's like that deranged kid you knew in school who would say something just absolutely absurd and then just stand there and laugh at it themselves, even though no one else was laughing. That's Kamala Harris, okay? She laughs at everything. She's like a bad Batman character. We're going to call her the Giggler. And we don't need the Giggler. We need Batman. And if you haven't figured it out, Donald Trump is Batman. But to me, what it comes down to is, does the candidate support the Constitution or is the candidate acting against it? And the Democrats act against it pretty consistently. Now, someone's out there saying this guy's extreme right wing. No, not necessarily. I mean, I was registered as an independent all of my life until a couple of years ago. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. It's whoever is supporting the Constitution. Currently, the United States has about 2.86 million soldiers who took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So when I cast my ballot, I'm also supporting them. When I cast my ballot, I honor those that fought and died for that document. Over 400,000 in Arlington National Cemetery alone, and that's just one. And to be quite honest, I don't want that blood to have been shed in vain because you want to make promises that you either can't keep or should have never made to start with. So what does Joe have to do with this other than the comment? It's the same administration, folks. Who do you think's been running things for the last 4 years? It damn sure hasn't been that old man in cognitive decline. Do you really want another 4 years of what I've been referring to as the Biden-Harris Bankrupt America plan? With runaway inflation where you can't even afford to buy your groceries or pay your bills or put gas in your car or do anything for your kids anymore because you just can't keep up with rising costs. Is this really what you want another 4 years of? I got news for you. We're all going to end up bankrupt if this giggling jackass goes in office. This is Samuel Storm Callahan, constitutionalist, also known to the Democrats as deplorable and garbage. And you've been listening to The Eye of the Storm.